Welcome to Meetings in Math. Today we're going to be looking at interpreting negative numbers. We'll be looking at them on a vertical number line. Our essential question is, how are rational numbers used to represent temperature, elevation, and velocity? Today you need to have something to write with, a pen or a pencil, your Jaguar Jots starting on page 3. It will be interpreting negative numbers 1.1 with your learning goals and your essential question, and you need to always bring your problem solving skills. So let's get started. So our essential question drives our work for today. So what we want to make sure we know how to do is we want to know how we use rational numbers to represent temperature, elevation, and velocity. So right here we have a thermometer. Here's a weather thermometer. 3 of the numbers have been left off. We want to put the missing numbers in the boxes. What numbers do you think belong here, here, and here? So if we look at our temperatures right here, we see that we have the numbers negative 10 degrees Celsius, a blank, 0, 5, a blank, 15, 20, a blank, and a 30. And we also have lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines. So this line right here goes to negative 10. This one we don't know what it goes to. This one goes to 0. This goes to 5. We don't know what this one goes to. 15, 20, blank, and 30. And so we ask ourselves, what do we think this is counting by? So I'd like you to take a moment to pause this and think to yourself, what do you think that this is counting by? So hopefully you notice that these are probably counting by 5s. You can find that by looking right here where this is your clue. 15 to 20 counted by 5s. 15, 20, it's skip counting. So this one you should be able to figure out, this one and this one. These are the ones we're most used to. So you can see what's missing between 5 and 15, 5, 10, 15. That would be a 10 degrees Celsius. And what would be missing between 20 and 30 would be 25 degrees Celsius. So this is a number line. It is just on a thermometer. This one might be a little more difficult, so it might be easier to count backwards. So if we counted backwards, we went 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0. So here we were skip counting up, right? So we were going plus 5, plus 5. But if we went down, we were doing subtraction by 5. So from here, we subtracted 5, and from here we subtracted 5, and from here we subtracted 5. So what's 0 minus 5? 0 minus 5 is a negative 5 degrees Celsius. So that means that this line right here is negative 5 degrees Celsius. And if we subtracted another 5, we'd go there. Or if we added 5 to negative 10. So you can see that we finished completing that. What we want to know is, what do you think this temperature right here is at? That temperature shows. That's this question right here. So we can definitely rule out some things. It's definitely not what? Well, it's definitely not 14. 14 would be up here, positive. It's definitely not 10, that's up here. Could it be 4? Well, 4 is between 0 and 5, so that would be up here. So it's down in the negatives. So it's somewhere between what two numbers? Well, it's between 0 and negative 5. So let's list out those numbers between 0 and negative 5. That would be 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. And it can't be 0 and it can't be negative 5 because those are the actual lines. So it's somewhere between here. If it was negative 4, it would be really close to the negative 5. So it can't be that. And if it was negative 3, it would be in the center. Is that in the center? No. So it's between negative 1 and negative 2. And which one do you think it's closer to? Do you think it's closer to negative 1 or do you think it's closer to negative 2? And then you would need to make that decision. So if it was -1, I would expect it to be really, really, really close to that 0. And since it's not really, really close to that 0, I'm going to go with -2. Let's go ahead and work on the next problem. What temperature is shown on each thermometer? Go ahead and pause the video and do that, and then come on back and let's talk about it. Okay, so let's look at that first one. So this first one's between 0 and 5. And you can see right there, it's on the 4. So we do know that this one is 4. 4 degrees Celsius. Don't forget our units. This one we see is between 0 and -5. So we know this is -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. And we can see that it is directly on the -3. This one, we know it's between 5 and 10, and we're going to have to make an estimate. So 5, 6, so it's between 5 and 6. I'm going to say it's about halfway, so it's 5.5 degrees Celsius. And this one right here is between 0 and -5. And so I know I have to count backwards, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So it's between -1 and -2. So -1 to -2. So if I was in positives, that would be between 1 and 2. So I'd say 1.5, but it's on the negative side. So it's -1.5 degrees Celsius. This one's difficult. Go ahead and pause and rewind if you need to. So which thermostat shows the highest temperature? So when we look across, we want to know which one's the tallest. That's going to be your highest temperature, right? So far this one's tallest because that one's lower. If I drag this across, oh, suddenly this one's the tallest. So which one's our tallest temperature? C. That means 5.5 is our largest number. Which thermometer shows the lowest temperature? So the lowest means it's furthest down. So it's our smallest number. So it can't be C. So this one's taller, so this one's shorter. Drag that across. It's still shorter. Do you see that? So that would be B. So what does that mean about -3 compared to -1.5? It means -3 is less than -1.5. Let me say that again. Okay, I want you to pay attention. We're going to write that right here. -3 is less than -1.5. I know that's a tiny bit confusing because if you were talking about positive numbers, we'd say -1.5 was smaller than 3, or excuse me, 1.5 is smaller than 3. But when they're negatives, right, we have to pay attention because it's further down on that number line. It's a smaller number. It's colder. So -3 is less than -1.5. This one right here, suppose the temperature outside is -4 degrees. So where would -4 fall on here? -4. Be right here, wouldn't it? Is that colder or warmer than the coldest temperature shown? And how do you know? So what I'd like you to do is answer that question. Have the how do you know, so write out that how do you know. Write that out, have an answer for the how do you know, ready to go for class. So I kind of give you a hint with the arrows. So you're going to answer this question and have it ready to go for class. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure that you have all of these questions answered. You go back through it, have this last question ready to go for class. And I am so happy that you joined us, and make sure you're kind to each other and have a great day. Bye now.